So yeah, let's move on to the Eastern Conference. Um, 76ers and Nets are really close to each other at the top of that conference. Both teams, I said in the weekly recap, I think these two teams are going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals just as a way too early prediction. Um, yeah, I don't know what I don't see like the Knicks were the fourth spot in the East a few days ago, and everyone in New York was extremely happy about that. Gabe, our other analyst, was texting me saying I was disrespecting Julius Randle when I said that Jeremy Grant is comparable to Julius Randle. Um, and then we have the Heat at like sixth, and the Hornets and the Raptors, all these teams that we expected to be good, being low, like the Heat and the Raptors, and then the Hornets and the Knicks are somewhat surprising. But if you look at the records, they're all like around 500. After the top three seeds, they're all around 500. So
And
I
they're like
think,
a half a game away too.
yeah, exactly. And they're all like within so close to each other. So the East, the bottom of the East just looks ugly to me. I don't know how many people follow those teams. The Wizards are actually playing some good basketball recently with Russell
Oh
Westbrook
yeah.
and Bradley Beal, finally getting some type of cohesion and scoring going. Um, but yeah, looking down the conference, we can just start at the top and talk about the two most important teams, I think, or three most important teams, because I think the Bucks have to be included in that conversation. 76ers, Nets, Bucks. Edward, who do you think just has the edge in terms of their players, like in a playoff scenario, in terms of how the team is constructed?
Um, I honestly like. Oh man, I haven't seen. Have the 76ers play against the Nets yet?
I don't think they have, at least not in a prime time since like Harden and came over. I don't think they've played in a big game.
Yeah, that's the thing. I haven't seen them play against each other. So like, I'm trying to think. I'm like, did they have actually that day?
Oh, they played on February 6th. So the 76ers won 124 to 108, and like James Harden was there, but I think
I think
KD
that was like, yeah,
most
it wasn't like a full stack
yeah,
Nets team. Yeah, no Kyrie. Yeah, yeah,
no Kyrie, no KD.
no
We
KD.
gotta see them play with everybody.
Yeah. Oh man. So I, hmm, I think for me, honestly, I think 76ers are built better than the Nets. I think like Doc Rivers figured it out with Ben how to play with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Like I definitely see that a lot, and you could definitely tell. Like I remember, like because I played fantasy basketball, it's like when Ben Simmons was out, like the 76ers struggled kind of. They were kind of struggling a little bit, but I think Joel Embiid is like, I got you, and that's the type of player I've been. That's the type of player I've been looking at for Joel Embiid. Like I was like, where is that go-to alpha guy? You know, and he finally showed up. Um, yeah, I just like their team better. Like they're constructed a little bit better than the Nets. Like of course, like I can't discount it because the injuries, like the inconsistency playing together, I think is the same thing. Like the Nets are like I think similar to the Clippers from
Mhm.
last year. Like their hype. I'm not saying. I think this hype is more bigger than last year Clippers in my opinion, because like James Harden, Kyrie, and KD, like when we ever had that three Mario like all star, like all in their prime. Um, I guess like some of the, but like they're having a great season last season. I mean, of course. Um, yeah, it's just the injury is a huge factor. I think so. I see, man, injury definitely. I don't want to go off with Bucks, but the Bucks to me, I think they're going to be that same Bucks team again. Um, yeah, it's just super hard. Oh man, this is tough. I actually don't know. If I had to pick one team to go out of the East, I think it's the 76ers, in my opinion.
76ers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great pick. You gave some good arguments for it. Definitely, like if you're at the end of a game and you want to have like a consistent bucket, like somebody who's gonna get a shot. I don't know. I think you have to rely on Joel Embiid more right now than you would rely on KD or Kyrie or James Harden for that matter. Like James Harden is playing at an MVP level, but we haven't seen him do it in the playoffs. Um, and then Kyrie and KD, obviously, I think KD, we've seen KD do it again and again. But I just feel like Joel Embiid is going to get to the free throw line at the very least. So you're right in that situation in the fourth quarter. But in terms of like the supporting cast, I think the 76ers win. Seth Curry, Tobias Harris, both great scorers. Korkmaz, they have a lot of players. They have a lot of good
Shake
role players.
Milton, yeah, like
Yeah,
all the
Shake
roles.
Milton. Oh my God, Shake Milton is he's a very good player as well. And then you look at the Nets and they have like DeAndre Jordan who's going to match up. They actually the Nets are in need of Blake Griffin, I think, if they want to match up with the 76ers better moving forward. But also just like in terms of the Nets, I think the Nets would win in a 7-game series right now. And that goes against what you said, but I think it's partly due to just James Harden having that mentality. I think he's playing the best basketball of his career, which people have said, which is actually saying something very much because he did a lot for Houston. Um, and yeah, Bucks, I want to include the Bucks in the conversation, but I kind of lean with what you said again, that like the Bucks are very similar to what they've been. Giannis scores in the paint, he has shooters, but he might just not have enough to match up with what the way that 76ers and Nets are playing right now. And Giannis has never been a clutch guy, I think. I think he's been more of just that consistent scorer in the paint, dominant force who uses his body to get shots, but he's never been like super clutch, like comes through under pressure. He did have that one game against the Clippers where he got that dunk, but I think that was more his physical stature. Yeah. I,
Definitely, I think definitely when if the 76ers play against the Nets, I think 76ers is like the best team that to beat the Nets. So I'm pretty sure like if you're a Nets fan, I think you'd be very scared for the 76ers because they just match up well with you guys. Like they have like all the comparable like size. Um and of course like if Joel Embiid like yeah draw fouls, then like if DeAndre Jordan gets like foul trouble, then like you look to your bench and you're like, oh, where's Jared Allen? Oh wait, we traded him. So like I think that's the thing about the Nets. I think yeah, their forecast is kind of small. Um yeah, I don't yeah, I think the also the Nets to me I remember one particular game they played against the Cavs. I think that was like the last time I
yeah.
remember they were at a full strength team,
Mhm.
like with KD,
Colin
Kyrie,
Sexton went off, I
and
think.
yeah, Colin Sexton went off. Like that showed me like if any of the 76ers player goes off, I think that's just huge trouble for the Nets. Which
Yeah.
I could see like Joel Embiid, like Tobias, like even Seth Curry, like any of them, like if they go off higher than their scoring average, it's over. It's
Hmm.
over. The
Yeah.
next you're it's over. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I think you got to think about whether you value star power with the Nets or whether you value like actually playing defense with the 76ers because the 76ers have great defense. Danny Green is obviously a 3 and D guy, which he did for LA last year. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, both spectacular top 10 defenders in the league. Um, yeah, and Doc Rivers is a good coach. He's going to coach his team to play defense. Whereas the Nets, you're going to rely on scoring 130 points. And the Nets can do that because they're one of the best offenses we've ever seen. But it's a very interesting matchup, and we'll definitely get more into it around playoff time. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel, the M2M Network, for more sports and entertainment content.